The night was thick with the scent of burning wood and ripe mangoes. The air hummed with the distant beats of ojin and the laughter of children chasing fireflies. In the small town of Amokwi, where the palm trees swayed like elders in deep thought, Chidera sat on the wooden bench outside her father's obi, staring at the full moon. She was in her prime, 22, and as beautiful as the dawn. Her skin glowed like well-polished udu, her eyes held the depth of the Niger, and her voice carried the melody of the night birds. She had suitors, plenty of them. The wealthy chief Obidike had sent emissaries with baskets of yams and jars of palm wine, hoping to buy her love. Ezioka, the son of the town's richest merchant, had tried to woo her with coral beads and imported perfumes. Even the young teacher, Chokuma, had written her poems so sweet they could make a widow smile. But Chidera was not moved by wealth or flattery. She longed for a love that would set her soul on fire, a love that would be as true as the stories her grandmother told by the fireside. That night, as she lost herself in the moon's glow, a voice startled her. "You look like someone waiting for the gods to send her an answer." She turned sharply, her wrapper swaying around her waist. Standing before her was a stranger, tall, dark, and with a presence that commanded the air around him. He had the build of a warrior, his muscles firm under his simple cotton tunic. His smile was confident but not arrogant, and his eyes held something rare, depth. "Who are you?" Chidera asked, folding her arms across her chest. "A traveler," he said, stepping forward. "My name is Uchenna. I arrived in Amokwi today." Uchenna was not from Amokwi, he came from the distant town of Okigwe, a place known for its warriors and skilled blacksmiths. He had come to Amokwi to stay with his mother's people and learn the art of wood carving. But it was clear from the start that his destiny in Amokwi was greater than he imagined. Chidera and Uchenna's first meeting sparked something undeniable. She found herself drawn to his stories of distant lands, his dreams of crafting art that would outlive him, and the way he listened, really listened, when she spoke. At first, she tried to resist. She told herself that love should not come so easily. She had spent years rejecting men, why should her heart surrender so quickly to a stranger? But love does not wait for logic. It seeps into the bones like the heat of the sun, filling the empty spaces we did not know existed. Their courtship was unlike any other. They walked by the river at dawn, feet sinking into the damp earth. He carved wooden figures for her, tiny turtles, birds in flight, a mother with a child on her back. She wove a quilt cloth for him, her fingers working the loom with the grace of the gods. But love in Amokwi was never without trials. The obstacle. Word spread quickly that Chidera, the pride of Amokwi, was in love with a stranger. The elders frowned at it. Her father, Ensmadu, a man whose word was law, summoned her one evening. "Chidera, have I not raised you well?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. "You have, Papa." "Then tell me why you shame me by choosing a man who is not of our town. A man whose people we do not know." Chidera knelt before him. "Papa, love is not about where a man comes from, but what he carries in his heart." Her father shook his head. "That is the talk of a foolish girl. You will marry Obidike. He has enough wealth to build you a house finer than any in this village." "But Papa, I do not love Obidike. Love does not cook soup." Ensmadu roared. "A woman needs a husband who can provide, not a dreamer who carves wood." Tears burned Chidera's eyes, but she stood her ground. "Papa, I will not marry a man I do not love." It was the first time she had ever defied her father. The house fell into a tense silence. News of Chidera's defiance spread. Some called her stubborn, others admired her courage. But the greatest test was yet to come. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Obidike, furious at being rejected, approached Uchenna. "You think you can come to my town and steal the woman meant for me?" he sneered. "I have stolen nothing," Uchenna replied calmly. Obidike smirked. "Then prove yourself. Tomorrow at the wrestling ground. If you win, you can have her. If you lose, you will leave Amokwi forever." Chidera's heart clenched when Uchenna accepted. Obidike was a seasoned wrestler, a man whose strength was feared. But Uchenna only smiled. Do not fear, Nkem. The gods fight for those who love truly. The next day, the entire town gathered. The drums beat furiously, and the dust rose as the two men faced each other. The match was fierce. Obidike fought with deep force, but Uchenna was swift, his movements calculated like a leopard. With one final, powerful throw, Uchenna sent Obidike crashing to the ground. The crowd erupted in cheers. Chidera ran to him, tears streaming down her face. You did not have to do this. I would fight 1,000 battles for you, he whispered. Nsmadu watched everything. He saw the love in his daughter's eyes, the pride in Uchenna's stance. That night, he called for a gathering. I was wrong, he admitted before the elders. A man is not judged by where he comes from, but by his heart. Uchenna, you have proven yourself worthy. You have my blessing. The wedding was the grandest Amokwi had ever seen. The village feasted for 7 days, and the Udo tree in the center of the square was adorned with white cloth, a symbol of peace and unity. Chidera had found love in her prime, not in wealth, not in power, but in the man who saw her heart and cherished it above all else. And so, under the bright Igbo moon, amidst the singing of maidens and the laughter of the old, love reigned supreme.